Thalvin had seen war before. In his 300 years of service to the Valoric Observation Corps, he had documented 47 conflicts across the galaxy. He had watched empires rise and fall. He had seen species extinct themselves through foolish aggression. War, to Thalvin, was as predictable as the stars themselves. This is why he felt nothing but mild curiosity when his assignment came through. The Kruthek Empire had begun military operations against a newcomer species called humans. The humans had only achieved faster-than-light travel 40 years ago. They were children playing in a galaxy full of adults. The Kruthek had been traveling the stars for 8,000 years. The outcome seemed obvious. Thalvin's ship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Outer Rim territories. His sensors immediately picked up the battle. 15 Kruthek warships surrounded a small convoy of human vessels. The human ships were transporting colonists to a new world. Families, children, non-combatants. The Kruthek had sent a demand. Surrender the colony world. Leave this sector. Never return. Through his observation equipment, Thalvin watched the human commander respond. The man's name was Deho, captain of the lead ship called the Un's Resilience. His face appeared on the communication channel, calm and steady. Negative, Deho said simply. These people are going to their new home. The Kruthek commander laughed. It was a harsh, grinding sound. You have 6 ships. We have 15. Our weapons are superior. Our shields are stronger. This is not bravery. This is stupidity. Deho was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was not a happy smile. Then I guess we're stupid. The channel closed. Thalvin made notes in his data recorder. Humans displayed irrational confidence when facing superior force. Classic behavior of species unfamiliar with galactic warfare. They would learn quickly or they would die. The Kruthek opened fire first. Their plasma cannons lit up space with brilliant green light. The human ships scattered. Their formation broke apart like frightened fish. Thalvin nodded to himself, panic, expected, but then something strange happened. The human escort ships did not run. They dove straight toward the Kruthek fleet. Thalvin's sensors showed energy readings from the human vessels spiking dangerously high. They were overloading their engines. A Kruthek battlecruiser exploded. One of the human escorts had rammed it at full speed. The human ship and all its crew died instantly, but they took 300 Kruthek warriors with them. Madness, Thalvin whispered. His mandibles clicked together nervously. Another human ship broke formation. A small fighter craft piloted by someone named Hyunji. She was leading a squadron of 12 fighters. Their ships were primitive compared to Kruthek technology. They had metal hulls instead of energy shields. They used chemical rockets instead of plasma drives, but they moved with purpose. Hyunji's voice came across the battle channel. Dragon Squadron armed the special packages. Target their command ship. Thalvin focused his sensors on the fighters. His analysis software identified the special packages immediately. Nuclear weapons. Primitive fission bombs that most civilized species had stopped using thousands of years ago. No one used nuclear weapons in space combat. They were too slow, too easy to avoid, too inelegant. There were better ways to kill. The humans did not care about better ways. Dragon Squadron flew straight into the Kruthek formation. The Kruthek point defense systems destroyed 4 of the human fighters immediately. The pilots died without making a sound. The remaining 8 kept flying. They released their weapons at point-blank range. Then they scattered. Thalvin watched 3 nuclear explosions bloom in the void. The Kruthek command ship tried to activate emergency jumps, but the electromagnetic pulses from the primitive weapons scrambled their systems. The ship went dark. Dead in space. The battle lasted 47 minutes. When it ended, 9 Kruthek ships remained. Only 3 human ships survived. By all military calculations, the Kruthek had won, but the human colony convoy had escaped. They jumped to hyperspace while the Kruthek fleet was in chaos. The colonists reached their new world. Thalvin recorded everything. He noted the human casualties. 67% losses. Any other species would call this a catastrophic defeat. The humans called it a victory. He requested permission to monitor the human fleet communications after the battle. What he heard confused him even more. Captain Deho was speaking to his surviving crew. His ship was heavily damaged. Fires burned in 3 sections. 20% of his crew was dead. We held the line, Deho said. His voice was tired but firm. Those families are safe now? That's all that matters. His crew cheered. They actually cheered? Thalvin played the recording 3 times. He analyzed the emotional content. These humans had lost more than half their fleet. They had lost friends, colleagues, loved ones. They had barely survived, and they were celebrating. He composed his first report to the Valoric Council. The humans fight without regard for acceptable loss ratios, he wrote. They employ tactics that no rational species would consider. They sacrifice their own lives with disturbing ease. They use primitive weapons in unconventional ways. They view survival as victory regardless of cost. Thalvin paused. His manipulator claws hovered over the datapad. Current assessment. Humans fight like cornered animals. They are unpredictable and dangerous when threatened. However, this approach is unsustainable. They cannot replace losses quickly enough to survive a prolonged conflict with the Krothek Empire. Estimated time until human surrender, 6 to 8 standard months. He sent the report and settled in to watch. The Krothek had already dispatched reinforcements. Soon there would be another battle. The humans would learn their lesson. They would accept reality. Thalvin had seen this story before. The strong always won. That was the law of the galaxy. But as he watched the 3 surviving human ships limp toward their nearest base, something nagged at him. Something in the way Captain Deho had smiled before the battle. Something in the way Hanji had flown straight into death without hesitation. They had known they would probably die. They had not cared. Thalvin had seen brave species before. He had seen desperate species. He had seen foolish species, but he had never seen a species that treated suicide tactics as standard operating procedure. He made one more note in his private log. Humans are either the most courageous species I have encountered or the most insane. I am not certain there is a difference. The stars spun on above him. The war was just beginning. Thalvin would watch and record as he always did. He did not know yet that everything he believed about war was about to change. He did not know that 6 months from now, he would look back on this moment and laugh at his own ignorance. He did not know that the humans were only getting started. 6 months had passed since the first battle. Thalvin had been wrong about everything. The Krothek Empire had launched their grand offensive 3 months ago. It was a massive attack involving 600 warships. They struck 12 human colony worlds simultaneously. The human fleet had rushed to defend them. The humans lost. Badly, 60% of their fleet was destroyed in a single week. Thalvin had watched from his observation post as human ships burned across a dozen star systems. The math was simple. The humans had started with roughly 240 warships. They now had fewer than 100. The Krothek Supreme War Master Thex had given the humans 1 standard week to surrender. Every major power in the galaxy agreed this was generous. The humans were finished. Everyone knew it. Thalvin received new orders. Travel to human space. Document their surrender. Record the terms of their defeat for the historical archives. It was routine work. He felt a small amount of pity for the humans. They had fought bravely. But bravery was not enough. His ship arrived at a human industrial world called New Sol. He expected to find a population preparing for occupation. Instead, his sensors showed something impossible. The entire planet was working. Thalvin requested permission to visit the surface. The humans granted it immediately. They seemed eager to show him around. This confused him. Defeated species usually tried to hide their weakness. A human named Sangwoo met him at the landing platform. Sangwoo was the chief engineer of the planet's manufacturing sector. He was a short man with tired eyes and grease-stained hands. "Welcome to New Sol," Sangwoo said. He did not look defeated. He looked busy. What would you like to see? I am here to document your preparation for surrender, Falvin said carefully. I understand the Krothak have given you 1 week. Sang-Woo stared at him for a moment. Then he laughed. It was not a bitter laugh or a desperate laugh. It was genuine amusement. Surrender? Sang-Woo shook his head. Follow me. I want to show you something. They took a transport to the industrial zone. Falvin had visited factory worlds before. They were usually quiet places with automated systems running efficiently. A few technicians monitoring computers, clean, organized, peaceful, new. Seoul was none of these things. The factories were roaring. Thousands of humans swarmed across assembly lines. The noise was deafening. Sparks flew from welding stations. Massive machines stamped out hull plates. Entire ship sections moved on conveyor systems that stretched for kilometers. We run 24-hour shifts, Sang-Woo explained. He had to shout over the noise. Humans only need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. The rest of the time we work. Falvin watched a frigate hull being assembled. His internal clock timed the process. How long does this take? 16 days from raw materials to launch, Sang-Woo said. We used to take 32 days, but we have gotten faster. 16 days. Falvin's species needed 45 days to build a comparable ship. The Kruthak needed 60. How many factories do you have? Falvin asked. On this planet? 48 major shipyards. But New Seoul is just one world. We have 32 industrial planets now. Every civilian corporation has converted to war production. Sang-Woo pointed to a massive assembly bay. That facility used to make passenger shuttles. Now it makes destroyers. They visited the logistics center next. A woman named Ji-won showed him the production schedules. She was the chief coordinator for the entire sector. Her office was chaos. Screens covered every wall showing ship counts, resource flows, and production timelines. You lost 140 ships, Falvin said. How will you replace them? Ji-won smiled. It was the same smile Captain Daeho had worn 6 months ago. The smile of someone who knew something you did not. We already have, she said. She brought up a display. Ship counts by sector. Falvin read the numbers 3 times because he could not believe them. The humans now had 190 ships. They had not just replaced their losses. They had built 50 more than they started with. That is impossible, Falvin said. You lost those ships 3 months ago. 47 ships per month, Guwon said. That is our current production rate. By next month, it will be 55 ships. We are still improving our processes. She pulled up another display. The Krothak can build approximately 12 ships per month across their entire empire. They have more planets than us. Better technology. More resources. But they do not have our work ethic. Falvin felt something cold settle in his chest. It was a feeling he had not experienced in a very long time. Fear, your entire species has mobilized for war, he said quietly. Yes, Ron replied. Every human world is now part of the war effort. We have converted 90% of our civilian economy to military production. Every factory, every shipyard, every resource extraction facility, all of it serves one purpose. But your people, Falvin said, your civilians, what about their needs? Sang-Woo spoke up. They are working in the factories. Everyone contributes. Children too young to work study engineering and logistics. Elderly citizens who cannot work teach the young. Every human understands what is at stake. You have turned your entire civilization into a war machine, Falvin said. The Kruthak attacked our families, Ji-won said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were hard. They tried to take our colonies. They killed our children. So yes, we became a war machine. That is what you do when someone threatens your survival. Falvin spent 3 days on New Seoul. He visited more factories. He interviewed workers. He reviewed production data. Every piece of information made the picture clearer. The humans were not preparing to surrender. They were preparing to win. On the 3rd day, he met with Guwon again. The Krothak deadline expires tomorrow, he said. What will you do? We will reject their terms, Q1 said simply. And then we will launch our counteroffensive. You are outnumbered, Thalvin said. The Krothak have nearly 1,000 warships. They do, one agreed. But they cannot build new ships faster than we can destroy them. We can build new ships faster than they can destroy us. This is not a battle. It is a race. And we are faster. Thalvin returned to his ship that night. He composed a new report to the Valoric Council. His manipulator claws shook slightly as he typed. Previous assessment was incorrect. Humans do not view war as a series of battles to be won or lost. They view war as an industrial problem to be solved through production efficiency. They have converted their entire civilization into a military manufacturing system. They operate on minimal rest. They have no separation between civilian and military sectors. Every human is now part of the war machine. He paused, tried to find the right words. The Krothak have superior technology in greater numbers, but humans have something more dangerous, the ability to outproduce any opponent. They do not need to win battles. They only need to survive long enough to build more ships than the enemy can destroy, he added one final line. Revised estimate, humans will not surrender. Krothak victory now uncertain. Request permission to continue observation. The next day, the human counteroffensive began. 190 warships jumped into Krothak space. The battle was fierce. The humans lost 43 ships. 2 weeks later, those 43 ships had been replaced. And 20 more besides. Thalvin watched and understood. The humans had discovered the secret that most civilized species had forgotten. War was not just about who fought better. It was about who could sustain the fighting longer. And humans, it seemed, could keep fighting forever. The war had entered its second year. Thalvin had requested and received permission to embed with Krothak occupation forces. He wanted to understand how the war was progressing on conquered worlds. The Krothak had successfully occupied 3 human colony planets. By all military standards, these territories were secure. Thalvin chose to observe the occupation of New Jeju, a human agricultural world with a population of 4 million. The Krothak had taken the planet 6 months ago. The invasion had been textbook perfect. Overwhelming force. Minimal resistance. The human defenders had been crushed in 3 days. Governor Vectrix met Thalvin at the occupation headquarters. The Krothak governor was a veteran administrator. He had overseen 14 successful occupations during his long career. Welcome, observer, Vectrix said. You will find everything in order here. The humans have been pacified. Resistance is minimal. We expect full compliance within another 3 months. Thalvin made polite observations. He noted the Krothak troop positions. He reviewed casualty reports. Everything looked normal for an occupation. The casualty reports bothered him, though. He read them again more carefully. You lose an average of 12 soldiers per day, Thalvin said. That seems high for a pacified world. Accidents, Vectrix said quickly. Equipment failures. The occasional extremist. Nothing organized. But Thalvin was not convinced. He requested permission to tour the occupied cities. Vectrix seemed reluctant, but agreed. The capital city of New Jeju looked peaceful. Humans walked the streets. Shops were open. Children went to school. But something felt wrong. Thalvin could not identify it at first. Then he realized the humans were watching. Every human he passed tracked the Krothak soldiers with their eyes. Old women sitting on benches. Young men at cafes. Children playing in parks. They all watched, constantly, quietly, waiting. Thalvin visited a school. The principal was a human named Jinsu. He was a thin man with gray hair and gentle eyes. He had been a teacher before the war. How are the children adapting to the occupation? Thalvin asked. Jinsu smiled sadly. Children are resilient. They adapt to anything. Do they resent the Krothak presence? They are learning to live with it, Jinsu said carefully. What choice do they have? Thalvin noticed that Jinsu's hands were scarred, burns and cuts that looked recent. What happened to your hands? Gardening accident, Jinsu said. I am clumsy with tools. That night, 3 Krothek soldiers died in an explosion at a fuel depot. The Krothek investigators found traces of homemade explosives. Simple chemicals that could be found in any garden supply store. Thalvin returned to Jinsu's school the next day. The teacher was in his classroom preparing lessons. He looked tired. You are part of the resistance, Thalvin said quietly. It was not a question. Jinsu looked at him for a long moment. Then he nodded. Yes, why tell me? I could report you. You could, Jinsu agreed. But you are an observer. You want to understand. So I will help you understand. He led Thalvin to a house on the edge of the city. In the basement, 12 humans were assembling explosive devices. Among them was a woman named Yunbai. She worked as a medic at the occupation hospital during the day. At night, she built bombs. We treat their wounded soldiers, Yunbai explained. We smile. We act compliant. We learn their patrol routes, their shift changes, their supply schedules. Then we use that information. You will eventually lose, Thalvin said. The Krothek are too strong. Probably, Jinsu said. But that is not the point. The point is to make the occupation so costly that it becomes unsustainable. Every soldier we kill must be replaced. Every convoy we destroy must be resupplied. Every facility we sabotage must be rebuilt. And when the Krothek execute civilians in retaliation? Thalvin asked. The room went quiet. Jinsu's face became hard. Then we make them pay for that too. Every atrocity makes more humans join the resistance. Every reprisal creates more enemies. They cannot kill us all, and they cannot break our will. Thalvin spent the next month documenting the resistance. He discovered cells in every city, every town, every village. Teachers, doctors, farmers, shopkeepers, old and young, men and women. Every human was a potential resistance fighter. The Krothek had deployed 20,000 soldiers to occupy. New Jeju, Standard Doctrine said this was more than sufficient for a population of 4 million. But the casualties kept mounting, 12 soldiers per day. Then 15. Then 20. Governor Vectrix increased patrols. He implemented curfews. He conducted random searches. Nothing worked. The attacks continued. Thalvin watched a Krothek supply convoy get destroyed by a roadside bomb. The explosive had been hidden inside a child's toy. 6 soldiers died. He watched a Krothek officer get poisoned by a human cook who had worked in the occupation mess hall for 4 months. The cook smiled as they arrested her. He watched a Krothek patrol disappear in the forest. They found the bodies 3 days later. Farmers with hunting rifles had killed them one by one. Most disturbing of all, he watched the humans live their normal lives between attacks. They went to work. They raised their children. They laughed and celebrated birthdays and got married. Then at night, some of them picked up weapons and went to war. There was no front line. No safe zone. Every human was potentially an enemy. Every smile might hide a knife. Every act of cooperation might be a trap. Governor Vectrix began showing signs of strain. He slept poorly. He trusted no one. He saw threats everywhere because threats were everywhere. We need more soldiers, Vectrix told Thalvin. At least 50,000 to properly secure this one world. You have 20,000, Thalvin said. That should be sufficient. It is not. Vectrix shouted. Then he controlled himself. These humans, they do not fight like normal resistance movements. They do not want to win battles. They just want to make us suffer. They want to make occupation so painful that we give up and leave. Thalvin filed his reports. The Krothek High Command was disturbed by the news from all 3 occupied worlds. They had deployed 100,000 soldiers total. They were losing 30 to 40 per day across all 3 planets. The humans were losing hundreds. But for every resistance fighter killed, 2 more took their place. And the human attacks were taking a toll beyond just casualties. The psychological impact was destroying Krothek morale. Thalvin met with Jinsu one final time before leaving New Jeju. "You cannot win this way," Thalvin said. "Even if you make occupation costly, the Krothek will not leave. They have too much pride." Jinsu smiled. It was not a happy smile. "You still do not understand. We are not trying to make them leave. We are trying to make them commit more soldiers here. Every soldier they send to occupy our worlds is a soldier they cannot use to attack our other worlds. We are turning their victories into prisons. They won the battle, but they will never win the peace." "Your people are dying," Thalvin said. "Yes," Jinsu agreed. "But we choose this. We choose to resist. We choose to fight. Even when we know we will probably die. Because the alternative is to live on our knees. And humans do not kneel. Not for long." Thalvin returned to his ship. He wrote his longest report yet. "Humans do not view occupation as defeat. They view it as a change in tactics. They become insurgents, saboteurs, and guerrillas. They blend into the civilian population. Every human is a potential threat. The Krothek are discovering that conquering a human world is easy. Holding it is impossible." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Other species resist occupation. Humans make resistance their identity. They do not fight for victory. They fight because fighting is what they are. They would rather die standing than live kneeling. The Krothek have captured 3 worlds, but they have not pacified them. They never will." Governor Vectrix suffered a complete breakdown 2 months later. They found him in his office, rocking back and forth, muttering about eyes watching him from every shadow. He was replaced. The new governor requested an additional 30,000 soldiers. The resistance continued. The humans kept fighting. The war had dragged into its 2nd year. Neither side was winning. The Krothek could not break the human production lines. The humans could not overcome Krothek technological superiority. Every battle ended in costly stalemate. Then Emperor Krothan made a decision that would change everything. Thalvin received the news from his sources in the Krothek court. The Emperor had authorized the use of a planet cracker weapon. It was an ancient device, banned by most civilized species. One weapon could destroy an entire world. Crack the planet's crust. Boil the oceans. Kill every living thing on the surface. The target was a human colony world called New Bissen. Population 2 billion. Thalvin immediately sent warning messages to every diplomatic channel he had access to. This was a line that should not be crossed. But the Emperor had made his choice. He wanted to show the humans that continued resistance was futile. The attack happened 3 days. Later, Thalvin watched from deep space. His sensors recorded everything. The Krothek weapon fired. New Bizen's crust fractured. The planet broke apart over the course of 6 hours. 2 billion humans died. Men, women, children. All gone. The galaxy waited for the human response. Everyone expected surrender. Some expected negotiation. The humans had been bloodied. Surely now they would see reason. The humans went silent for 3 weeks. No communications. No attacks, no movement. Human fleets pulled back to their core systems. The Krothek celebrated. They had broken human morale. Victory was near. Thalvin knew better. He had spent 2 years studying humans. Silence from them was not surrender. It was preparation. On the 22nd day, the human fleet emerged. They came from hyperspace in perfect formation. 200 warships led by Admiral Young-Soo. The admiral was young for his rank, only 35 years old. But his eyes looked much older. The human fleet moved toward Krothek space, but something was different. Thalvin's sensors detected unusual energy signatures. The human ships were carrying weapons he had never seen before. The humans did not attack military targets. They bypassed the Krothek border defenses completely. They jumped deep into Krothek space, to an uninhabited star system called VEXO-R-7. Admiral Young-Soo broadcast a message on all frequencies. His face was calm, his voice was steady, but there was something terrible in his eyes. "Emperor Krothan, You used a planet cracker on New Bizen? You killed 2 billion of our people? You believe this shows strength. You believe this will make us surrender. Young Su paused. You are wrong. We do not surrender. We do not forgive. We escalate. The human ships activated their new weapons. Thalvin S sensors went wild. The energy readings were impossible. The humans were doing something to the star itself. What you are about to witness is the result of 3 weeks of work by our best scientists, Young Su continued. A woman named Mir led the team. She figured out how to weaponize quantum physics in ways your people consider impossible. Watch carefully. This is your only warning. The star began to die. Thalvin watched in horror as Vexor 7 collapsed in on itself. The star went supernova in a matter of minutes. The explosion would destroy everything in the system. Fortunately, the system was uninhabited. No one would die, but the message was clear. You cracked one planet, Young Su said. We just killed a star. You have approximately 700 inhabited star systems. We now have the ability to destroy any of them. For every world you crack, we will erase a system, not just the planet. The entire system. The star, the planets, the moons, the stations. Everything. The transmission paused. When Young Su spoke again, his voice was colder. This is not a bluff. This is not a negotiation. This is a statement of fact. You escalated. We escalated further. You can surrender now, or you can watch your home systems burn. Your choice, Emperor, but choose quickly. We are not a patient species anymore. The transmission ended. The galaxy went into shock. The humans had done the impossible. They had weaponized stellar physics. They could destroy stars. And they had done it in 3 weeks. Thalvin reviewed the data over and over. His analysis software confirmed what he was seeing. The humans had achieved something that should have taken centuries of research. They had done it while fighting a war, while losing, while mourning 2 billion dead. They had turned their grief into a weapon that could end worlds. The Krothak response came within hours. Emperor Krothon appeared on galactic communications channels. He was surrounded by his advisors. He looked shaken. The humans have proven they possess dangerous weapons. But we also possess planet crackers. If they use their star killers, we will use our planet crackers, mutual destruction. Neither side can win. Young Su's response came immediately. He did not look shaken. He looked certain. Then we will race to see who can destroy more. You have planet crackers, we have star killers. You can destroy worlds one at a time. We can destroy entire systems. You will run out of targets before we do. And here is what you need to understand about humans, Emperor. Young Su leaned forward. His eyes were hard. We do not have red lines that we will not cross. We do not have limits we will not exceed. We have a ladder of escalation, and you just pushed us up several rungs. We will keep climbing as high as you force us to climb. If you crack another planet, we crack a system. If you crack 10 planets, we crack 10 systems. If you try to wipe out humanity, we will drag your entire empire down with us. There was silence. Then Young Su spoke again, softer this time. We did not want this war. We wanted to live in peace. We wanted to raise our families and build our colonies. You came to us. You attacked us. You killed our children. And then you were surprised when we fought back. He shook his head. You think we are monsters for building these weapons? But you built them first. You just called them planet crackers instead of star killers. You just thought we would not respond in kind. You thought we would break. You thought we would surrender? Young Su's voice became hard again. We do not break. We do not surrender. We adapt. You showed us a new level of warfare, so we learned it. We mastered it. We became better at it than you are. That is what humans do. We survive. And we do whatever survival requires. Thalvin watched the exchange from his observation post. He understood now what he was witnessing. This was not just a war, it was a revelation. The humans were showing the galaxy something that had been forgotten. There were species that accepted defeat. There were species that fought within limits. There were species that believed in proportional response and civilized warfare. And then there were humans. They had no upper limit, no point at which they would say, this is too far. They would climb the ladder of escalation as high as their enemies forced them. And they would do it faster, more efficiently, and more ruthlessly than anyone expected. Thalvin began his report to the Valoric Council. His manipulator claws trembled as he wrote. The humans have demonstrated stellar weaponization capability. They achieved in 3 weeks what should take centuries. They did this while mourning 2 billion casualties. They did this while fighting on multiple fronts. They did this because they do not accept limits on their escalation. He paused, trying to find words for what he was feeling. I have watched this war for 2 years. I have seen humans sacrifice ships, soldiers, and civilians. I have seen them turn their entire civilization into a war machine. I have seen them fight without hope of victory. But today I saw something new. I saw humans become truly terrifying, he added one final line. They do not fight to win. They fight to ensure their enemies lose. Even if victory is impossible, they will drag their enemies down with them. The Kruthak wanted to show strength by destroying a world. The humans responded by becoming strong enough to destroy stars. Question: what happens when a species has no limits on escalation? Answer: everyone else learns to fear them. The Emperor did not crack another human world. The humans did not kill another star. But everyone in the galaxy now knew the truth. When it came to escalation, humans had no ceiling, only a long, terrifying ladder that stretched up into the dark. 3 years into the war, Thalvin stood in the Galactic Council chambers. He had been invited to present his complete findings on the human-Krothak conflict. Representatives from 47 species filled the hall. The air hummed with translation fields and quiet conversations. Emperor Krothon appeared via hologram. He looked tired. His empire was not broken, but it was bleeding. 3 years of war against humans had cost him more than any conflict in Krothak history. I am here, the Emperor said, to discuss peace terms. The chamber erupted in noise. The mighty Krothak Empire asking for peace. It was unthinkable. The Krothak had fought wars for 8,000 years. They had conquered hundreds of species. They had never surrendered, but they were asking for peace. The council leader, a being named Thumbbax, called for silence. He gestured to Thalvin. Observer Thalvin has studied this war from the beginning. He will present his findings. Then we will discuss peace. Thalvin stepped forward. He had prepared for this moment. 3 years of reports, observations, and data. 3 years of watching humanity reveal itself to the galaxy. I will explain why the Krothak are seeking peace, Thalvin began. And I will explain why every species in this chamber should fear what humans have become. He brought up his first data display. Battle statistics. The war began with the Krothak having numerical and technological superiority. They had more ships, better weapons, more experience. They should have won in 6 months. He paused. Instead, they have fought for 3 years and gained almost nothing. The humans cannot defeat us, Emperor Krothon protested. We have won many battles. Yes, Thalvin agreed. You win battles. But humans win wars. Let me explain the difference. He brought up production data. Humans have an industrial capacity that grows faster than you can destroy it. They build ships faster than you can sink them. They replace soldiers faster than you can kill them. Every month they get stronger. Every month you get weaker. Next display. Occupation reports. You have conquered 3 human worlds. You have deployed 150,000 soldiers to hold them. Those soldiers are not fighting on the front lines. They are trapped babysitting planets that will never be pacified. The humans have turned your victories into prisons. Next display. Escalation data. When you used a planet cracker, humans responded by learning to kill stars. You showed them a new level of warfare. They mastered it in 3 weeks. They did not just match your escalation. They exceeded it. Thalvin looked around the chamber. Every representative was listening carefully now. Here is what I have learned about humans in 3 years of observation. They have no evolutionary peak. They are still adapting in real time. They have no concept of proportional response. They will match any escalation and go beyond it. They have no separation between civilian and military. Their entire species becomes the war machine when threatened. And most dangerous of all, they have no acceptance of defeat. He brought up his final display. Casualty reports from both sides. Humans have lost more than the Krillthek. Many more, but they do not care about losses. They care about survival. As long as one human world remains, they will keep fighting. They will fight from the edge of extinction if necessary. They do not know how to quit? The chamber was silent. Thalvin continued. Emperor Crothan started this war to intimidate a weak species. Instead, he created a monster. Humans were peaceful explorers before this war. Now they are the most dangerous military power in the galaxy. And they became this in just 3 years. The human ambassador entered the chamber at that moment. His name was Jae-hoon. He was a young diplomat, only 40 years old. He walked calmly to the speaker's platform. Thank you, Observer Thalvin, Jae-hoon said. Your analysis is accurate. Now I will speak for humanity. He looked directly at Emperor Crothan. We did not want this war. We wanted to explore. We wanted to trade. We wanted to learn from older civilizations. You came to us with threats. You attacked our colonies. You killed our families. And then you were surprised when we fought back. Jae-hoon's voice remained calm, but his words were steel. You thought we were weak because we were young. You thought we were easy prey because we had only 40 years of space travel? You made the mistake of confusing inexperience with inability. We only wanted to secure our borders, Emperor Crothan said. You wanted to take our worlds, Jae-hoon corrected. You wanted to expand your empire. You saw us as an obstacle to be removed. So you tried to remove us. He turned to address the full council. The Krothac made a mistake that I hope no one else in this chamber will repeat. They assume that because humans are new to the galaxy, we do not understand violence. They were wrong. Humans have been doing violence to each other for our entire history. We know war. We know it intimately. We just hoped we could leave it behind when we reached the stars. But you did not let us leave it behind. You brought war to us. And we showed you what happens when you bring war to a species that has been perfecting it for 10,000 years. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the translation fields seemed to hold their breath. So now you ask for peace, Jae-hoon said. And we will give it to you. But understand the price. You will recognize all human territorial claims. You will return the 3 worlds you occupied. You will pay reparations for the worlds you destroyed. And you will never threaten humanity again. Those terms are too harsh, Emperor Crothan said. Those terms are generous, Jae-hoon replied coldly. The alternative is we continue this war until your empire collapses. We can do that. We have the industrial capacity. We have the weapons. We have the will. But we are offering you peace because we are not monsters. We do not enjoy killing. We just refuse to be killed. Some of the council members whispered to each other. One of them, a delegate from a powerful federation, spoke up. If we allow humans to keep their territorial gains, they will become too powerful. They are already dangerous. Should we intervene? Jae-hoon turned to face the delegate. His expression was calm but firm. You are welcome to try. But before you do, consider what happened to the Krothac. They had 8,000 years of experience. They had superior technology. They had overwhelming numbers. And they are here asking for peace 3 years later. He looked around the chamber. Humans do not want to be your enemy. We want to be your neighbors. We want to trade and learn and grow together. But if you make us your enemy, we will show you the same thing we showed the Krothac. We will show you that humans do not lose. We either win or we drag everyone down with us. It was not a threat. It was a simple statement of fact. And everyone in the chamber knew it was true. The vote was called. The peace terms were accepted. The Krothac Empire would withdraw. Humanity would gain 30 new systems. The war was over, but something had changed in the galaxy. Every species now knew about humans. Every military academy would study the human Krothek War. Every strategist would analyze human tactics. Thalvin filed his final report that evening. The war has ended. Humanity has emerged as a major power. They achieved in 3 years what most species take centuries to accomplish. They did it through absolute commitment, total mobilization, and refusal to accept defeat. I came to observe humanity's first major war. I thought I would document their defeat. Instead, I witnessed the birth of something the galaxy has not seen in a very long time. A species that fights without limits. A species that adapts faster than others can react. A species that will sacrifice anything for survival. He paused, considering his final words carefully. There is a new term being used in military circles now. Going human. It means total war with no restraint. It means fighting not for victory but for mutual destruction if necessary. It means never surrendering, never compromising, never backing down. The Krothek learned what going human means. I hope no one else has to learn that lesson, because the next time humans fight, they will be even more dangerous. They will have learned from this war. They will have improved their weapons. They will have refined their tactics. And they will remember that they defeated an empire 8,000 years old in just 3 years. I am writing this as a warning. Not because humans are evil, but because they are survivors, and survivors do whatever survival requires. 50 years later, when an extragalactic threat appeared at the edge of known space, it was humanity the Galactic Council called first. The other species had better technology. They had larger fleets. They had more experience, but when it came to fighting impossible odds, when it came to standing at the edge of extinction and refusing to fall, when it came to doing whatever it takes to survive, was only one species. Anyone trusted to the job, the humans, because everyone had learned the lesson. Thalvin spent 3 years documenting. You can defeat humans in battles. You can destroy their worlds. You can kill billions of them, but you cannot make them quit, and that is why they are dreaded across the stars.